Welcome, one and all across the country. Today is February 18th, 2016, and this is Mastermind call number 62. So thank you all for, so many of you showed up early, and we've got a great attendance today. And I see our partner, Tom. I'm going to unmute you, so don't put us on speakerphone. So we got all of the partners of all the leads here, and we've got a great turnout. Tim, anything you want to start with as CEO? Anything you want to share with the group?
No, I'm anxious to let all our folks out there ask us some questions today and keep moving down the highway. We're doing, as always, we're very positive about how things are going, and we just continue to hear great things from our customers, and we're doing a lot of interesting things behind the scenes to change all our lives. So thank you for being our customers, and have a great call.
And we wanted you, I think we commented briefly on the last call. Thank you so much for those of you that participated in the customer survey. We have logged the results, and we are definitely taking into consideration as we decide what to add next. And we've made some, you guys really gave us a lot of good information to make some informed decisions. So thank you for that. Chad, anything you want to share from the training aspect before we get started?
Well, I think just based on the amount of signups we've had this week, we probably have a lot of new folks on the call. So thank you for coming. Anybody who just signed up and hasn't gotten started, this is a great place for you to kind of learn best practices. I do want to say that you can find the other 61 of these recorded and archived calls in our Facebook group. It's a closed group, so if you're not part of it yet, go to Facebook, type in All the Leads Mastermind, and request access. And in there you can find all the recorded mastermind calls and role play calls and tons of conversation with agents and brokers across the country discussing what works, what doesn't, and sharing.
Perfect. All right. Well, guys, we have 2 people in the queue. Please, we got time to take 4, 5, 6, 7 questions or comments. Anybody has a win? Anybody have any place that you're getting stuck? Please hit *6 and then hit 1. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up for our first person that would like to ask a question or make a comment. That is area code 831. Oops. For some reason, 831 dropped off. Would you hit *6 and hit 1 again? In the meantime, area code 479, I guess you're up first. All right, hang on just 1 second, please. Okay, 831 or 813. You are up first, so 479, you're next. Go ahead, fire away. You there? Area code 813-951. Hello.
I think I hear somebody. It may have been.
I was muted. Yeah. Now you're unmuted. 813. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Jenny Blackburn calling from Reddington Shores, Florida, and I've missed a few of the mastermind calls, but so forgive me if this is something that's already been covered or discussed, but I remember one of the last calls I was listening to, people were talking about the fear that people were going to, yell, like, how dare you, and yell at them, and that the call is going to upset the next of kin, basically.
Sure.
And so in making these calls, it's not a lot, but I've gotten that several times. And the most recent, the guy called me a vulture. So anyway, but what I found was interesting, and none of that upset me. And I think the reason is because what was interesting is none of them hung up. If you really make someone mad, they're going to scream and hang up.
Yep.
Conversation over.
Yep.
But they don't hang up. They wait. They want you to say something because they're in pain. I know that when someone in your family dies, especially if they were close to you, one of the things that makes it so emotional is that your world is destroyed, but the rest of the world is acting like this didn't happen.
Sure.
The rest of the world goes on for everybody else, and that causes them pain. So in thinking about this, the next time I get that, I'm going to say, I've said, like, I'm so sorry. What's the address or what's the name, and I'll be sure and take you off the list, and I'm, so sorry for your loss and that sort of thing. But I wonder if I said, just acknowledge and said, you are very upset, and then say something like, I've upset you. Just kind of not argue with them. Just, you're very upset. You sound very upset. I get it. You're very upset. I've upset you. Then
This is Chad. It's one of the objections that I put at the very top of the list when in Probate Mastery, we go through a pretty exhaustive list of objections that I've heard and other people have heard. It's good that you don't let it rattle you, but I'll tell you what I've learned. And you're right. You got to think about their mindset. Anytime that somebody calls me and they're abrasive or they blast me and they don't hang up, it's usually a male. And what I hear is, I need your help. Your letter was interesting to me, but my ego is in the way and I can't admit that. So who the hell are you? And if you can know that in the front of your mind when that person calls, they're reaching out for help, but they're too proud or their ego's in the way and they don't trust you yet.
Right.
But
and
they picked up the phone for a reason. If they didn't need your help and they were confident they didn't, they would have thrown it in the trash. If they were one of the 10% of people who are just miserable souls and just wanted to cuss somebody, they would have hung up. So the ones that don't hang up, they're looking for something. So what you can give them is empathy. And I don't ever say, sorry for your loss or anything like that, because I didn't know the person. But what I will say is, and you nailed it on the head. So I love feel, felt, found. So listen, Mr. Executor, I understand how you feel. I know this is a tough time. That's actually why I reached out. A lot of the people that we first talk to feel the same way. But what they find is that once they understand what we do and why we reached out in the first place, they're actually relieved because we can take a lot of the stress off of your plate. I mean, we have, we can help you get the personal property cleaned out and sold for the most amount of money. We can help you renovate the home. We can even sell it in a week to one of our cash buyers. It really just depends on what your goals are. And by the way, you didn't even say, is there a home in the estate that you want to sell? And you end on an open-ended question, and that will break down the walls and start the conversation. And it's just layering in good questions and value from there. But if they don't hang up, they're looking for help.
Right. Plus, a few times after the call, and sometimes I get them when I'm on the road and I can't stop and look up the address. But there's been a couple of times where the ones that yelled at me, and I go look it up, and it's a $30,000 mobile home, It's not the $600,000 house that does that. It's the lower price ones. So,
yep.
Anyway, so that's my thing.
We had on that as well. I talked to one of our agents, she's a broker actually in Washington State, and she's got a great mindset about making these calls. And anybody who's ever prospected, expired listings has taken their hits, and she's good at that. But she's working on turning those hits into opportunities. And it just comes down to good questions. And you're not going to get them all, and I'm not that naive to think that everybody who's mad at you is going to do business with you. But there's a large percentage of them, the majority of them, actually will admit that they need help if they get a good understanding of who you are, what you do, and feel like they can trust you. So she's working on, she and I kind of had this conversation last week, and she's working on turning those objections into conversations. And that's the key. Like, so many people just clam up and be like, I'm so sorry, I'll take you off the list, and hang up the phone. And that's the wrong thing to do, because no sale starts without an objection. So objections mean you have that the sale has a pulse. There's a listing to be had there somewhere probably. So just use good questions to pull out information, and then find ways to plug in value where you can.
Penny, from listening to you, what comes across very clearly is you're very passionate about it. You're very, you're really sounds like you're coming from a good place, and it's great to say all the right things and everything, but regardless of what you say, if you have that intention in mind, it comes through, and that's probably why maybe initially they're hurt, they're offended, it sounds like you're doing a really good job of pretty quickly diffusing them.
Yeah, I just want to. I think if I change what I say to talking about them being upset, and I've upset you, instead of saying sorry, just acknowledging what they're saying. I just want the conversation to continue, and
sure.
I think that'll work. Saying those things will work better for me.
Well, and a lot of the process side of this is that you, and it's like everything that anything that Chad is going to say, you're going to say, or any other person who's successful at doing this. Everyone has their own approach, and a lot of that is what clicks best with your own personality. And what I'm hearing you say is that you're obviously showing concern and care for them at that point, and you're going to let the conversation go where it goes once you've acknowledged that you've upset them. And it's like, yeah, all right, I got that, I did. They're gonna the move is theirs, and that's a good way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what's interesting? I talk to agents across the country, and that is overwhelmingly the minority of the reaction. You may have gotten a few right in the beginning, and hopefully you got them out of the way, but it doesn't sound like it bothers you, even if you get more like that. But for the vast majority of our agents tell us, you're reaching out to somebody, usually cross-country, who is one of a handful of heirs, who has all the responsibility. They're answerable to their heirs. They're just getting an equal share of the proceeds. We hear far many more times that these are the easiest, nicest, most appreciative people to deal with. So you will run into those too, and they'll more than balance the ones that that misperceive you initially. But good for you. It sounds like you got a few of the more difficult ones out of the way.
Yeah.
Good way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
I have no doubt you're going to be very successful with this. Any other questions or anything else we can help you with?
Me personally?
Yes.
No, I did actually. Today, there were, before I did all the leads there, I was getting some probate leads from elsewhere, but I didn't really do anything with them, but I had kept them. And then when I signed up with all the leads and got the letter series, I just went ahead and pulled out of the old probate leads. I pulled out just the ones that are closer to my area from those old leads. And I added them to my first batch and sent them the letters. So I get a phone call from a lady, and she got the letters, and she wanted to talk to me. And the situation was that she, the mother died, left the property to the adult son and daughter. Then the brother died. So here's this woman who has like zero money, can't pay them. She shows a mortgage, can't pay it by herself. So what she's like the ideal situation for someone that really needed cash, because she can't even afford to move until closing and she gets some cash. So it was the ideal situation for an investor to come in. It needs a new roof, but it's a great floor plan. It's an old Ruttenberg home. It's in the best school district in the area, and still just like 7 minutes to the beach, not in a flood zone. And it just needs, like, the roof is like the main thing. So they would just like minimal fixes.
Great.
No walls need to be torn out. So anyway, long story short, she had a couple of offers. She actually had an offer that from an investor that she had in her hand. She's supposed to sign it today, but I got in there and was able to bring her an investor that gave a higher offer and still give her 30 to 45 days to move out. And then once the guy, which I'm not making anything on this part of it, I just bird dogged it. But then the investor knows that then then I get the listing once he fixes it up.
Wonderful. Again, yeah, coming from a service mentality, what can I do to help you? It pays off. Good for you.
My only thing is I really wish, so I was scrambling. I really have not worked with investors much, so I was like scrambling to find an investor.
Sure.
So I found
How
a couple.
did you end up finding the buyer, the investor?
How did I find out what?
How did you find the investor?
Let's see. Word of mouth. The one a stager that I used. We were talking about. The stager that I knew. And I knew a house that she did, and I knew that she did this staging for investors, and I asked her who she had, and so this guy called me, and it was from her, and then somebody else was just a friend of mine that I mentioned this great Seminole house to, and if she knew anybody that could pay cash, and then she told somebody in her office was related to somebody, and then that investor called me.
Wow, so a friend of a friend of a friend. If anybody else is on the call does not know where to find an investor, we'll help you with that. One of the easiest ways and most consistent, there's a website called nationalreia.com. Stands for Real Estate Investors Association, nationalreia.com. They've got branches in virtually every major city in the country. You can just click on a map, pull up the president of the RIA, call and say, hey, I specialize in probate. Do you have any investors that would be interested in buying it? And usually the president will say yes, or he'll refer you to another seasoned investor that that's part of his club. So that's where I would start if you absolutely don't know anybody. But I mean, you got the result just by networking, word of mouth. Somebody told somebody, and got back to you. So. Again, great story, great initial success, and you've been doing this for just a few months, right? Just a couple months now.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Yeah. Thank you so much. We have one other caller in the queue right now, and if anybody else has anything else, we've got time for 3 or 4 more comments or questions. Just hit *6 and then hit 1. And area code 479, for some reason you dropped off, so please *6 and 1 and get back into the queue. And thank you so much for sharing. Did we answer all your questions, Penny? You good?
Oh, me? It's Jenny.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Yes.
Okay,
definitely.
great. Hang on a minute. Area code 740, you are up.
Hi. Hey, for the lady who was just talking.
Yes.
Would it be appropriate for me to say, call me? I'm a cash buyer.
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
You'll buy anywhere in the country?
You know what? If it's a good deal, yeah.
Oh, this is Tim, and what I would prefer that you do, we'll be happy to exchange that information on your behalf. We take these calls and we make them available. So what we'll ask you to do is, if you'll be good enough to send your contact information to support, we'll be happy to get it to Penny.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. Send it to support@alltheleads.com, and we'll get it right to Penny. And it brings up a point that I was going to make as well, and that is that we've been asked for a while to see if we can put an exchange up for you, and this is just beginning to drive that point harder, that we need that exchange up on the website sooner rather than later. And I'm going to take that as a strong marching order to work on that a little bit. So, but if you'll do that, that's great. We'll do that, and we can not only exchange this kind of information, but also market information where you get a good opportunity in another market that you're not going to work, and you can pass it along.
Excellent. Oh, forgive me. It's Jenny, not Penny. I didn't mean to change your name. So I heard Penny. Sorry about that. All right. Well, thank you. And we have 3 more questions or 3 more comments. Let me move to the next one. Was that all you wanted to say, 740?
Yeah.
You good?
Yes, that's all I
okay.
wanted to say. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Area code 301, you are up. That sounds like the Maryland, D.C. area. Am I correct?
Yes, correct. I just want to give you guys some accolades. I've talked to Jim and Chad. The support has been great. I'm actually ready to sign up on Monday, but I've been doing probate in my area. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area for a while, and I've had a lot of different providers, list providers and what have you, but nobody with the kind of depth of knowledge and experience that you guys had. I also want to say that once you go to probate, you don't go back. There's nothing else like it. I've been in the business for about 30 years, and my name is Nathaniel Arnold, by the way. So just really good information. Looking forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Nate. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Nate.
You're still not getting your leads for free, but we really, but thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. And we're looking forward with that kind of a mindset. You're gonna get phenomenal results. So, and I really appreciate that. All of the partners in this business have been in altogether. We've been in the business for more than 100 years, total. And we really had a passion about not being another churn and burn company. Just take your money and move on. And we realized we could sell you leads for a month or two. If we don't do everything we can to make sure you're successful, we're not going to have a long-term client. And we really operate on that philosophy. And it's good to have it appreciated. So thank you so much, Nate. I appreciate it. Anything else?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you on Monday. Thank you. All right. Next. Whoops. Sorry, we had two people for some reason that got dropped from the Q&A. 479, I'm going to go ahead and activate you. There was someone else that there we go. I got you. Okay, 502, you're next. Area code 502, you're up.
Yes. Are you there?
We're here now. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, fantastic.
And I'm sorry, before you start, 479, we seem to be having a problem. Would you go ahead and hit *6 and 1 again and get back into the queue? Sorry, sir. Go ahead. 502.
Sure. This is Jay Pitts, Louisville, Kentucky. I'm brand new, about 2 weeks out. Chad, this is the issue I emailed you about. You and I never linked up. What we've found is number one, like the contact info reliability has been great. Very, very pleased. I've worked with FSBO and expired data sources that don't rival your level of accuracy as it pertains to the contact info. So I've been very pleased there. The issue I'm running into is a lot of spouses of recently deceased folks. The home is not necessarily in an estate. And while these may be good long-term follow-ups that we'll be considering selling at some point, I would like to know what your thoughts are on an appropriate script, because these people are grieving, number one, and number two, they probably have thought about selling, but it's much less immediate thought.
Yep.
What's the best way to approach those?
Well, if your voicemail wouldn't cut me off, you would know.
I know. I realize that.
It cut me off at like 1 minute, and I'm like, damn. So do you want to role play it? Do you want to go through it?
Sure. I'm happy to do that.
Okay. So I'll be the agent. You be the spouse. Ring, ring.
Sure. Hello.
Or actually, are you doing outbound or inbound? Do you guys?
We have not started mailing yet, so this would be outbound.
Okay. Oh, no letter, huh? All right.
Well, I mean, we just signed up like a week ago.
Right. Okay. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi. Is this Jay?
Yes, sir, it is.
Hey, Jay. My name's Chad. I'm from Corbett Real Estate Advisors. We actually noticed that we were at the courthouse gathering data. We do periodically, and we've recognized a need in our market to really help people who have inherited properties. And I understand that you're the executor of an estate. And, don't take offense from this. We just try to reach out to as many people as we can and be proactive, because we realize that even if you haven't thought about selling right now, you might not know where to start. So I noticed that your address was the same as your, the deceased. Are you guys thinking about selling the home, or is there any way that we can help you kind of understand the probate process and how that affects, the real estate and the sale?
Well, I'm still here, but I don't know, it's kind of a sudden thing, and I don't really know. We got a lot to think about. There's a lot up in the air. We're just trying to get through this process right now. Ultimately, I think it is too much house for me, but I hadn't really given any thought to that yet.
Yeah. I understand. And most people, you know, and we, trust me, Jay, we're not trying to force anybody to make decisions. I mean, if you are ready to do it, I think you'll see a lot of value in what we do. I did want to introduce myself and just let you know there is somebody in town that really understands your position. We've helped, you know, dozens of families, including people who have lost spouses every year. And I know it can be, you don't know where to start. So just wanted to reach out and let you know that we are here in town. And I guess if when you get to a point where you do want to kind of put a plan together or even discuss what it might look like, what the home's value is, have you had the home appraised, or do you know what it's worth? Do you know what your position is as far as being able to sell?
I mean, we have a mortgage on the property. I think I have a general idea as to what it's worth. The attorney that we're working with did suggest that I get an appraisal. I don't know if that's necessary or not. We really just we've got some other priorities prior to thinking about that. I'll have to get to that when I get to it. There's just a lot of work ahead of us. Okay.
Well, if it's okay with you, I mean, it's not going to be perfect, and it's not an appraisal, but it's also not $450. I can put together what we call a market absorption analysis. And it's really, we're going to go back 2 years and look at the market and come all the way to right now and kind of give you a 360-degree view. If it's all right with you, I can go ahead and do that, and then you'll have at least a starting point. And whether you decide to sell or not, it's no obligation. We don't charge anything unless you decide you want to sell the home, and we do what we say. Would you want me to put that together for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that would work. That would definitely be helpful, especially if, because I did make some calls, and appraisals are rather expensive. So that would give me a good starting place. Okay.
Well, I'll put it together. It's typically, it's not the most complicated thing in the world, but it's not something that you could probably just pick up and understand. I've got a spot on Friday between 3 and 3:30 that I could bring it by and just kind of spend 5 minutes showing you what it means and kind of take some notes and answer any questions. Would you be available during that time?
Yeah, we'll be around. We're kind of getting some things cleaned up. I've got some help coming over. Yeah, I should be available. Okay.
Well, great. Well, if there's anyone else in the family that is curious about this, or you feel like should be a part of that decision, let's try to get them there. I know you guys, you're not selling right now and you haven't made that decision, but I like to include, we worked with a lot of families and learned a lot. Anyone who you want to be part of the decision, I'd like for them to hear and have a chance to ask questions about the real estate if they need to. So anyone you think should be there, if you could just get them there. I'll go ahead and work on this, and I'll be by between 3 and 3:30 on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, that works well.
So I know you're a long-term client. I know you're not ready to sell. I don't want to push you, but you told me you have an attorney, and that attorney probably has a real estate agent that he's in Rotary with or something. So I want to get something of value in your hands, and I want you to show me some level of commitment. I can easily email you a CMA or market absorption, but I want to show up, meet with you face-to-face. You're going to see that I'm a different class of professional. You can ask me any questions you want about probate, about the estate, about the real estate, and then I'm going to walk away without asking for a listing. So when the time comes, and it will, for I'll bet you 70% of spouses will sell in the first year, because as soon as summer rolls around and the lawn mowing and the maintenance and all these things, and they realize I don't need a 4-bedroom house anymore. The kids are in a different city. She's gone. I just need to get out of here and go find a smaller place that I can keep up with. And the day will come when they call, because you're the only realtor in the world in their eyes, because you provided them value without pressure. So that's how I would handle that scenario.
Okay. And we will be mailing. We just haven't operationalized that yet. So I would imagine that it's a completely different conversation when it's inbound, because they're initiating the contact. That shows a level of interest.
Right. Well, sometimes what got me into this strategy was actually a lady calling to tell me I will never sell my damn house. I'll die here. 3 months later, I sold it for $25,000 more than it expired for. She didn't tell me it was on the market. She didn't tell me her realtor did a subpar job. She ended up in a nursing home, and the letter was on the coffee table. And her daughter called, and I said, yeah, we can get this done. So even when they call, just like the very first question we fielded today, even when it's an inbound and it's a spouse that's hurt, there's still something motivated them to call you rather than throw the letter away and say screw you. So find out what that is. Get to the bottom. Find out what made them take action. That probably they need help. Probably they're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. And you just got to learn to ask good questions and get to the root of that and build trust. And then it's all go from there.
Yeah.
Excellent. You good, Jay?
Yeah, I'm great.
All right. Thank you so much for participating. You're always, have something to contribute to the call. We have one more caller, and we got a few minutes, so let's go ahead and take area code 479. If anybody else has anything pressing, *6 and hit 1. We could probably take two more calls, but let's go to 479 first. 479, you kept dropping off, but you were patient.
Thank you.
You're up. Is that Roger?
Yes, I am.
I thought so. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. I wanted to this call, the dialogue that's been on this call has been incredible because I just had a very similar situation today with one of the real estate agents in the office here who lost a family member, and I've been kind of hesitant to approach her. The house is on the market, and I said, Judy, did you lose? I know you had some family stuff going on, and did you lose a family member? And she looked at me, and she just started almost muddling up. Yes, it's my mom. She died. Yada yada yada. And I'm sitting there going, wow. Well, and then I started in on introducing the stuff, and she didn't know that I was doing probate stuff. And I said, is there a house in the how's it going with that? Well, we've got it on a short sale. It's got a reverse mortgage on it, and we've got a problem that I'm not sure how to handle. And I said, what's that? She said, I said, is there a trust involved? Yes, there's a trust. It's in a trust. I said, well, great. It didn't have to go through probate, but the property's not in the trust inventory. And I sat there and I went, well, I'd hate for you to have to go through all of this and go with and have some title challenges. I've got some. Let me give you some. Go to this title company that I work with, because they are really good at trying to figure out what's going to happen and how the title is going to transfer to the buyer of that. Have you talked to the mortgage company? Yes. And suddenly she says, and we've already gotten notices of intent to foreclose, les pendens. And I said, well, so you do have the option of letting it go into foreclosure, and is a state-owned money. And then she started finally. I said, Judy, you really need to get it off of your table. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, I know, I'm just way too emotional about it, and I've got all of this stuff, other stuff going over here. And I said, talk to your husband, see if you just want to get it off the table. I've got the attorneys and the title companies, and I can deal with this, and I'll just report back to you. And
all right, Roger, so let me get this straight. First you get your first probate deal is a $6 million listing, and your second one is you listed a property that belongs to another agent in the office. That's that's pretty tough.
You can't make this up.
Yeah, you might as well retire, Roger. I don't think you can beat that. Good.
And the only thing I can think of when you get into those emotional situations with somebody is I think that NLP, because I've taken some classes in neurolinguistic programming to finding the feel for what's going on within them and approaching it with that and solving those kinds of issues, personal issues, and getting into it. And I'm blessed with being able to use some of that, but I could always use more NLP training.
And just like Jenny on the first call, you could just hear, even when you were role playing, you could hear that you had genuine empathy and you were really trying to come from a good place of being able to help her. So congratulations, man. That's great. Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything? But thank you for sharing that testimonial. So you're going to let us know when you sell the $6 million property, and would you, if you need help with that short sale, by the way, I know somebody can help you with that. So
well, that's I dropped Chad an email and asked him to give me a shout, and let's.
Excellent.
I'll get down to it real quick and give me a punch list of what I need to look out for. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, matter of fact, call me this afternoon, Roger, and I'll walk you through that.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. This call is awesome. We have nobody else in the queues, so really thank you for everybody who showed up. I thank everybody who participated. We had some great testimonials, great stories. I always try to end these calls by challenging everybody who took the time to come today. You know, take one idea, one thought, one thing that inspired you from this call. Take it out and put it into action next week. And please, like the people did today, come back next Thursday and share with us. In the meantime, if you need help with anything, support@alltheleads.com. We value you guys so much. Thank you for coming today. You make it a great week, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Take care.